If you're looking for a PenFed personal line of credit alternative for bad credit, this is the video for you. One thing I want to say right off the bat is that PenFed does pull Equifax, but PenFed right now does not offer a personal line of credit. So basically, if you're looking for a personal line of credit alternative for bad credit that actually does something similar to PenFed, this is the video I want you to pay attention to. So the first bank, the first lender that will kind of help you out is Truist Bank. So Truist does a lot of good things, and Truist will pull Equifax. If you have bad credit, not a problem, because Truist will consider you. If you have a FICO score of 500, that's the minimum they will look at. And basically what you want to do here is you want to actually apply at a branch. Do not apply over the phone or do not apply online if you have bad credit and you're looking for a Truist personal line of credit. And what we have found here is that if you have 500, as long as you have a good relationship with Truist, a checking account and or a savings account, and maybe an investment account, this is fine. And you basically need to have good employment, good income. Good income. We're talking about $1,500 minimum to kind of qualify. $1,500 on a monthly basis. That's on a gross basis. This is kind of fine. So with Truist, you actually have multiple, I would say multiple categories of lines of credit. I'll go through some of them because they are important to really have a clear idea what we're talking about. So first of all, you have the Truist personal line of credit. So this is the basic personal line of credit at Truist. And if you have a 500 as a minimum FICO score, you could qualify. So this, you can actually get a line of credit from $5,000 all the way to $100,000. So Truist will pay attention to your employment. As I said before, you need to be making at least $1,500 on a gross basis. They might ask you to actually provide proof of employment and proof of income. So your W-2s will suffice, your 1099 if needed. This is kind of fine. Truist loves job stability. So even if you don't have a full-time job, still, if you're having like two or three gigs on the side, but those are stable, Truist loves that. So $5,000 all the way to $100,000. So you also can have like a secured line of credit. And also there's something called a Truist Ready Now credit line that gives you the ability to actually cover your overdraft from $300 all the way to $7,500. So that's a line of credit that allows you to take care of little unforeseen expenses and even overdraft. So this is really cool. So overall, this is just a fantastic element here. If you need more information, you can also apply by phone if you have a Truist account. If not, just call. If not, just go to a branch. If you have any question, call 1-844-487-8478. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. When you think about Truist, so you have the personal line of credit where you get like you get $5,000 all the way to $100,000. You have the secured line of credit. So when you actually secure the line of credit, in other words, when you collateralize the line of credit, they can actually you can get anywhere from $25,000 all the way to $1 million. So when it comes to when you collateralize the line of credit, Truist has no more limits because the line of credit that they give you is backed by the underlying asset that you pledged as collateral. So those are three types of lines of credit at Truist. So you have the line of credit, the secure line of credit, and the Truist Ready Now credit line. You also have the physician line of credit. So this is another line of credit that Truist has specifically for healthcare, I would say, professionals. So here you have a $50,000 maximum line amount for medical residents and fellows. You have $100,000 maximum line amount for board certified physicians, dentists, and podiatrists. So here you have a variable rates as low as 12.50%. So the bottom line here is that Truist is really targeting healthcare professionals here by giving them very massive and very generous lines of credit amounts. So you have $5,000 minimum loan amounts, and you have all the way to $100,000. So the bottom line here is that Truist is really targeting that demographic. One thing I need to say here is that if you are in healthcare, even if you have bad credit, that's not a problem. Because Truist is thinking about your earning potential. Truist is thinking about your future earning potential. Right now, you might have bad credit, okay, but you are in the healthcare sector, and you might be a board certified physician very soon, or right now you are a medical resident, and you might actually start earning soon. So Truist is looking at that, and it banking on your future. That's why it's offering this physician line of credit. And so don't forget. So those are the four options. Okay, when you think about a Truist as a PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternative, you have four options. You have the Truist, the regular, the unsecured Truist line of credit. You have the physician line of credit. You have the secured line of credit. And then you have the Truist Ready Now credit line. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternatives. Another PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternative is KeyBank. So KeyBank also has a series of lines of credit that we will explore very quickly here. And so first of all, you have something called the preferred line of credit. By the way, KeyBank also pulls Experian, similar to PenFed. Okay, so if you're looking for a PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternative, go to KeyBank. Now, KeyBank, unlike PenFed, is geographically restricted. So PenFed is available nationally, which is not something that KeyBank has. But hey, listen, if you live in a state where KeyBank is present, this could be your lucky day. So when we talk about KeyBank, we are speaking about a series of lines of credit, including the preferred line of credit. So the preferred line of credit is the traditional unsecured line of credit at KeyBank. So basically, you can get anywhere from $2,000 all the way to $25,000. This is really the delta that you have to look at. The APR goes around 7% all the way to 17%. And KeyBank wants you to have a relationship with the institution, so you need to have an account with KeyBank. And so this is kind of fine. One thing I need to say also is that with KeyBank, things tend to go a little faster. So they will actually approve you within 24 to 48 hours. This is really good. And we love the fact that KeyBank actually will link up your preferred line of credit to your checking account. So you need to have a checking account, okay? I was speaking earlier about the geo restriction. This is a real thing. If you are going to consider KeyBank, make sure that you are in the geography they covers. So they cover. What are we talking about here? There are these states: Arkansas. You also have Colorado. You have Connecticut. You have Idaho. You have Indiana. You have Massachusetts. You have Maine. You have Michigan. You have New York. You have Ohio. You have Oregon. You have Pennsylvania. You have Utah. You have Vermont, and you have Washington State. So if you are in those several states, you can qualify. Let me say this again: you have Arkansas. You have Colorado. You have Connecticut. You have Idaho. You have Indiana. You have Massachusetts, Maine, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Utah, Vermont, and Washington State. And this is kind of important to actually have that in mind. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about the PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternatives. So when you talk about KeyBank, you actually have several personal line of credit alternatives, but I want to focus on two. So you have the first one that's called the preferred, but then if for any reason, because we're looking at a delta of 2,000 all the way to 25,000, and so KeyBank will actually will accept you if you have a minimum FICO score of 500, and if you have a solid employment, you're making $1,800 a month, and that's gross income. And so that's fine. But if you do not qualify for any reason for the preferred line of credit, you can try to apply for the Key Basic personal line of credit. So it's called Key Basic personal line of credit. It's another line of credit with a lower, I would say, approval limits. Okay. And so basically here you have a revolving line of credit that really you can use for all kinds of expenses, for minor expenses. You can also use it to sort of cover your overdraft, your potential overdraft. So here you're looking at loan amounts that go from $250 to $5,000. So this is actually this Key Basic personal line of credit. The underwriting criteria are less stringent on this line of credit than they are on the first one. So again, the amounts go from $250 all the way to $5,000, and you can use the cash for anything you want to think about. But you need to you can also use this for overdraft protection with your KeyBank checking accounts, okay? And so you have flexible payment options including automatic payments. This is really good. So you can compare and contrast this 250 to 5,000 versus the 2,000 to $25,000. Okay. And one thing I also need to say here is that so the payment the income. So you have $1,800. That's on a gross monthly basis. And you might have to provide your tax returns. You might have to provide your W-2s. You might have to provide a letter from your employer showing KeyBank that you indeed have a job. Okay, because they really care about that. With KeyBank, it's not just about the credit score. A lot of folks they get it wrong when they say what KeyBank really cares about the credit score. They do care about the credit score, but they care about your ability to repay the line of credit they're giving you. That's what they care most about. That's why you can see that there are other banks. They have much more generous lines of credit. KeyBank is just restricting the whole thing to $2,000 all the way to $25,000. Another lender you might want to consider if you're looking for a PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternative is Service Credit Union. So Service is a great institution. Our team members are all members of Service, including myself. So this is a wonderful credit union. It's a credit union that has a military affiliation, but you do not have to be in the military or have somebody have a relative in the military to qualify. So this is kind of cool. So Service also pulls Experian and will approve you if you have a credit score that starts at 500. And so you can get a personal line of credit at Service, not a problem. What we love about Service is that we love the fact that Service is really fast. They tend to process personal line of credit applications real fast as long as you have the proper sort of paperwork. So you are able to prove employment. You're able to prove income. It's better if you want to get a personal line of credit through Service to have some of your direct deposit, your direct deposit come into a Service Credit Union checking account. I'm not saying you have to put the full amount, but you can probably put like a 20% or 40% of your paycheck and have it routed into Service Credit Union. Okay, this is really good. And so with Service, you have a very generous lender here because Service can actually approve you up to $50,000. So obviously, if you have bad credit, you're not going to qualify for $50,000. But hey, the possibilities is there. You can at least you can dream about it. You have quick approvals. You have flexible terms, and there is no application fee. We love that a lot. And so if for any reason you don't qualify or you don't want to go with the personal line of credit, you can apply for a personal loan. The approval amount, the maximum approval amount are the same, $100,000. So this is really great. So overall, we love Service a lot. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I'm talking to you about PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternatives. I want to talk to you about Upgrade. So Upgrade is an interesting personal line of credit because it's not really a line of credit, but Upgrade does pull Experian, and Upgrade does have a line of credit, even though the product itself is not a line of credit. Let me explain. So when you think about Upgrade, you have a credit card that you can transform into a personal loan. So what happens here is that, so basically, let's say you apply for your Upgrade credit card, right? And you get let's say $10,000 in credit limits. What happens here is that if you charge, let's say $5,000 on the credit card, you can actually say, you know what? I want to transform this credit card balance into a personal loan. So by doing that, you basically now have a loan. So instead of paying the full amount or paying paying the 2%, you're paying just a loan. So by doing that, you are basically transforming your credit card into a personal line of credit because you are monetizing the cash that is on the credit card. So this is kind of fine. And again, when we talk about Upgrade, you are looking at credit line from $500 all the way to $25,000, which means you could potentially have a $25,000 personal line of credit with bad credit through Upgrade. Okay, this is really, this could be a little confusing to some viewers. If you do not understand what I'm saying, you can just ask us in the comment section and we'll answer you. Somebody in our team will answer you. It's important to understand that. So I just want to say once again, so Upgrade is originally a credit card But then when you actually have a limit on that credit card, that limits, if you charge something, if you charge, let's say you have an outstanding balance on that credit card, that outstanding balance can be transformed into a loan, into a personal installment loan. So by doing so, Upgrade can actually help you transform your line of credit into, like, your credit card balance into a line of credit. So this is important to really understand. And Upgrade is the only player in the market right now doing that kind of metamorphosis, that kind of magic. I mean, nobody else does it. But so, it is what it is, and you need to know about it. So, hey, kudos to Upgrade to for coming up with this technique. The last PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternative that I want to share with you is called Elastic. So Elastic actually pulls the Experian, such like the same way PenFed does. And with Elastic, you're having lower amounts in terms of your personal line of credit. You're getting somewhere from $500 all the way to $4,500, and you can use the cash for anything. And with Elastic, you have no geography restrictions. So this is not a bank. Elastic is an online lender. It's a fintech. Okay. So the cool thing is that you are basically going, if you have a FICO score of 450, you could qualify for a line of credit through Elastic. Not a problem. You can use the cash for unexpected expenses as soon as tomorrow, by the way. This is really good. And the APR is kind of high, though. The APR is really high. And it's one of those things you need to be aware of. I mean, this kind of funding program is good for emergencies, but don't make it a habit. Because if you make it a habit to borrow for emergencies through players such as Elastic, you're really paying a lot of APR at the end. So you're paying a huge APR at the end, so which you don't want to have anyway. So just be aware. You just want to control that part. And one thing I want to say here is that what we love about Elastic, they're not just charging you, like they'll charge you for the service anyway, though, but they are actually adding value. So we love the fact that they are really educating you in terms of credit, even though your situation right now is sort of good for them. But hey, listen, they're trying to really get you out of the zone you're in right now in terms of budgeting. So they're giving you budgeting tools on their website. They're giving you also something like they have a constellation of videos on a page called Financial You. So this is actually this is a place where you are able to access videos that cover the basics of savings, debt, and budgeting. So this is kind of cool. So Elastic is really banking on you, literally, like they're banking on you literally for the future. So this is really great in terms of the optimism here. And one thing you need to make sure that if you go with Elastic, again, be sure that you know exactly how much you want, and that you have thought about how you are going to repay the line of credit that you get through Elastic. Okay, because those line of credit, you have to repay them every single week. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Let me quickly recap. So I was just talking to you about PenFed bad credit personal line of credit alternatives. So I gave you a few lenders that fit the bill. Number 1, Truist. Number 2, KeyBank. Number 3, Service Credit Union. Number 4, Upgrade. And number 5, last but not the least, Elastic. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.